The NBA playoffs are upon us. With the first round now starting, it's about time I make my official playoff predictions. While making this video, the only game that's finished yet is the Bucks vs Heat. While you'll be seeing this later, it shouldn't affect any of my predictions. I'll try to keep the predictions brief to keep the video from dragging on too much. And keep in mind, this is all my opinion, so most likely you'll disagree, and chances are I won't even be right. But before we get this video started, as always, if you like this video, leave a like. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing, and let's get right into it. Starting in the West, we have Jazz, Grizzlies, Clippers, Mavs, Suns, Lakers, and Nuggets, Blazers. As far as the first one, it shouldn't be very controversial to pick the Jazz. They made the first seed for a reason, and whether or not you think they're deserving of it, they're an objectively better team than the Grizzlies, and should win in 4 or 5. Next, we got the Clippers Mavericks, and I'm taking the Clippers in this. The team is just better and more experienced. I do think the series could go to 6 or even 7 games, but for the Mavs to win it, I think it would take Porzingis to be at 100% for the whole series, and that's most likely not happening. Suns vs Lakers, seems like a lot of people are writing it off as an easy series for the Lakers, but I'm not one of those people. The Lakers have been beat up and tired this season. I trust LeBron will be at 110% for the playoffs, but with him playing the least amount of games he ever has in a season, I don't think he'll be as good as he has been in previous years. The Suns are in just about the opposite situation. They're healthy and on a hot streak. I think the Lakers could win, but I'm actually picking the Suns for this in a 7-game series. Blazers Nuggets, Nuggets win. The Blazers have no good defensive big men to stop Jokic, and they have 6'4" Norman Powell at small forward who will have to guard Porter. So the Nuggets will probably win in 5. Moving on to the Western Conference semis, Jazz vs Clippers and Nuggets vs Suns. Jazz over the Clippers. The Jazz are a more organized team, and they've been playing much better as a team. Mitchell has historically been a great playoff performer, so I see it as a 6 or 7 game series for the Jazz. The Nuggets vs Suns is a good series. Nuggets without Jamal Murray have a lot of unknowns, and this whole playoffs is up to whether or not Porter can elevate in the way Murray would. But I think he will, and at the end of the day, I'm going to give the edge to Denver. In a series against the Suns, they have the experience advantage, and Ayton is not at all equipped to guard Jokic, let alone slow him down. CP3 is amazing, but is really the only player on the team with significant playoff experience, while most of the Nuggets players now have had 2 deep playoff runs. So with that, I'm taking Nuggets in 7. If this all happens, conference finals, and the West would be Nuggets vs Jazz, and I take the Jazz. Donovan Mitchell is Donovan Mitchell. Gobert doesn't always lock up Joker, but he's a good defender, much better than Ayton, and they also have plenty of good defenders to put on Porter. So without Jamal Murray, I'll take the Jazz in 6 games. Now for the East, we got Sixers Wizards, Knicks Hawks, Bucks Heat, and Nets Celtics. Sixers in 4. I actually would have given the Wizards a win against the Nets because Westbrook would be motivated to win against 2 of his former teammates, but not against the Sixers. The Wizards have nobody to stop Embiid and are just not a very good team at the end of the day, so Sixers easily win. Knicks Hawks. Knicks are a better team all around. With Randle leading the team, they have better depth and should win in 6 games. Bucks Heat. The Bucks just won a really close game with Middleton hitting a game winner, and while the Heat did upset them last year, I think the Bucks could actually win this time. With the addition of Holiday, they'll be able to run new systems that they haven't in previous years, and they should win in 6 games. Nets Celtics. The Celtics have not been playing as well as they should be this season, and should not stand a chance against the Nets, even if one of the stars are out. Second round, Sixers Knicks. Sixers should win. The Knicks exceeded expectations by a long shot. That doesn't make them good enough to compete with the Sixers. Sixers in 5. Bucks Nets. Nets win with this one. With only 2 stars available, it will be a close series. But with 3 stars, it's an easy 5-game series. The Bucks are improved in the playoffs this year versus last, with Drew Holiday, but they're not good enough to beat the Nets. And for the conference finals, it's a hard one. My pick may be controversial, but if Joel Embiid is healthy, I take Sixers in 7. Even with the Nets healthy, they aren't in tune. The Nets have only played a few games this season with all their stars playing together, and the Sixers, when healthy, are much more well-rounded in my opinion. NBA Finals would be Sixers Jazz. Probably not a popular prediction, and chances are not everything will pan out the way I predict. But this is my prediction for the finals matchup, and I'm taking the Jazz. The Jazz have great defensive center to put on Embiid, something that the Nets definitely don't have. They're well coached and have good talent and plenty of playoff experience. In this case, Mitchell would most likely be Finals MVP. But what do you think? Obviously, this is all my opinion and you have the right to disagree. So do you think this is accurate, or is it far reach? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you like this video, leave a like. If you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Thank you.